we'll take some of those questions. Not to worry if we do run a little short on time. We do have the Facebook group, which I will be monitoring over the next week, week and a half. So if there are questions that do come up that we might not cover today, you can post your questions there, and I will check daily just to see if anyone has additional questions. So in terms of social media ads, with social ads, you can expand your reach and traffic to your website or your profile, and you can increase your opportunities to make a real estate sale. Most people do go online looking for things that they need or want. So setting up those social ads can provide you with the leads that hopefully will convert into sales afterwards. But it's important to understand why you would like to advertise on social media and the different types of ads that are available to you. By understanding your kind of objectives as to why you're advertising and the best ads to use will get you the best results in the end. So the very first thing you'll want to do before you even start advertising on social media is to really choose your objectives. So why do you want to advertise on social media? Is it to target particular audience like first-time buyers? Could it be to target an entirely new market that you're now overseeing? Or you've moved to a new location and you want to let that community know that you're serving their real estate needs. So whatever those goals are, you'll want to establish those first and define them before starting a social paid ad campaign. The next thing after defining your ad campaign goals is you want to kind of understand the different types of ads that are available to you. Each ones will kind of help to establish those goals on the ads. So the very first and most simplest ads are the static picture ads that you can, or image ads that you can use on Instagram and Facebook. These might be the front image of the home or an inside image of the home with some ad copy and a call to action to get that person to generate the next steps. A couple of things to keep in mind when doing image ads is Facebook found that images that use less than 20% of text perform better. So by 20% less text, I don't mean the ad copy, I mean the actual text within the image. So here we have two words saying just listed. If this ad image had more than 20% of copy or text on it, Facebook deems these as low quality running ads. They may either pause or reject your ad. So you want to keep that in mind. If you are going to put text on the image or have that on your cover image for your video, make sure that it's approximately 20% less. It only consists of 20% of text. The rest of the image is actually that item that you're trying to portray in the ad. The next type of ad format is a video ad. Video ads can be used to show your team in action, bring life to your listing, use very eye-catching video of the dreamy property. It really pulls the users in and gives them a little bit more in-depth look in the property that you might be listing. And some of the tips to keep in mind is that you only have a few seconds to capture that person's attention. So really that cover image for that video is going to make that first impression along with the headline on the ad and the copy. So what you'll want to do is you want to make sure that you're skipping through that video and you're selecting the best image for that cover of that video before it plays. If you're finding that maybe there isn't that one within the video, you can upload or create your own cover image that best suits and grabs that attention for the video. And one of the other most popular real estate ad formats is the carousel ad format. This is what real estate marketers typically want to use because it allows to display several images in a catalog format, and it allows the user to scroll through and view different or multiple rooms of the property. You can have up to 10 images or videos to showcase that property or listing. The thing here to keep in mind with the carousel ads, though, is you don't necessarily want to show it all. So you do want to grab their attention so they follow up with you. But at the same time, you also want to leave certain things out, such as maybe a master bedroom, the key kitchen, or a really sort of interesting part of the property that you know buyers will be interested in, so that they follow up with you and don't just sort of make up their mind right away by just scrolling through the ad. You want to leave a little bit out that they as well want to follow up with you for more details. So when you've thought about your objectives and you've kind of understood some of the different types of formats, ad formats you can have, and you've set up some of those portions of the ad, you've captured the video or you've captured the photos, the next thing you'll want to do is to actually set up the ad itself. And if it's the first time for you to set up an ad, we're going to go through an automated ad version first. And if you're more comfortable with ads, I will take you through steps on doing one that's a little bit more manually set up. You do need to have a Facebook business page. So if you do not have a Facebook business page, you'll want to have that one set up first. Once you do have your business page set up, you can access the Facebook Ad Center right through your Facebook business page by going to your page and on the left-hand side, clicking on Ad Center, or you can go directly to Facebook Ad Manager and create an ad straight from there. Both will give you the same outcome. So once you've clicked on Ad Center, what you'll want to do is select Create an Ad. And if this is your first time setting up an ad or you're a little bit green to it, I do recommend clicking on Automated Ads. This will ask you some basic questions along the way. It will set up the ad with you, and then it will slightly tweak the ads over time to give you better results. I think once you've kind of understood how the ads work, you're seeing what's working, what's not, at that point, I recommend moving to setting up the ads a little bit more manually, because now you've understood what is working and you'll have a little bit more control using the manual method. So you will select Automated Ads. And then what you will do is select the profile that you'd like to manage the ad from. So this will be the profile, most likely your business profile, which will be associated to the payment account that the ad will pull the money from to pay for your ads for your daily budgets. The reason I bring that up, make sure you select the proper profile, is because some people may be running several different businesses. You want to make sure that your ads are associated to the right accounts for accounting purposes, most likely, and that the right budgets are coming out of the right accounts. One of the very first questions that it will ask you during an automated ad is, do you want people to come to your location? Just based on the current times right now and the nature of the business, you're most likely going to be on the go and not physically at a location. So I most likely would select no, that people will not be coming straight to your location to meet with you for that particular initial meeting. Do you have a website? I think most real estate agents do have a website or a corporate website that they have a page on. So you'll want to select yes for that preference. Next, do people buy products on your website? In your case, even though we are selling or buying homes, it's not an actual product online. So we're going to say no to that selection. And do people book appointments on your website? So chances are they probably are contacting you either through a form, a scheduling tool, or your contact information. So most likely you will select yes here. And do you get leads through your website? And hopefully you are getting leads through your website or your website listings. So that answer would be yes most of the time. And do you want people to contact you? And that is most likely the number one reason we're running the ads. So we will select yes in this particular case. And then you have a few options here. And how would you like people to contact you? Would you like them to call you directly, share their contact information, and then you'll reach out? So something like a form where you're capturing their name, email, and phone number. Do you tend to interact with your clientele through Messenger on Facebook or WhatsApp? So you will select this based on the type of communication you typically will follow up with. And whatever you're doing now, I do recommend selecting that, because if you're going to select WhatsApp, but you're never been on it, it's probably not the best thing to be selecting for your first ad there. And then you have a little bit of an interest area to segment your audience. So we're going to talk about this special housing category that's come in effect in Canada recently. And it's taken away some of the targeting options that we were able to do before. But what this automated section of the ad allows you to do is, if you know your target audience really well, and if, for instance, if your target audience happens to be higher end custom homes, and you know their interests are things like golf or high-end cars or things of that nature, you can add up to 10 interests here that will target those specific types of audiences. So most likely those types of audience that are looking for those types of interests will now be targeted more in this automated ad. So if you're unsure or you're just not quite sure about that audience, I would leave it blank. But if you do know of your specific audience and their interests that way, here's where you can add up to 10 different interests within that category. And in the next section of the automated ad, here's where you'll create up to 6 versions of your ad. If this is your first ad or one of your first ads, I don't recommend creating 6 different variations of your ad. I would stick to 2, maximum maybe 3 variations, just so you get to know the ad experience, what's working, what kind of isn't. What this is meant to do is you can set up your ads almost identically, but maybe change the headline in one, maybe change the picture in another, maybe change a little bit of the ad copy. You're trying to see what works better. If you're changing up too many things in each variation, you're not going to get to know what is kind of working and what isn't necessarily. So I recommend, again, maybe just starting off with 2 to 3 variations of your ad that you had in mind, and just switching up 1, no more than 2 things per ad to see kind of how each ad is doing. And if it's just the headline in all 2 ads, then you'll see which headline is doing better than the other. So you'll know for next time kind of what's working in terms of that, or showing an interior shot or an exterior shot, for instance. But this is where you're going to upload that image of your ad or the video, and you're going to change slightly things around in each variation. So once you've uploaded your media for each variation, you will then add in the headline, the ad copy, the link to your destination, whether it's your listing, your realtor website, a particular form where you're catching more of that information, so that funnel process. You're going to set up your call to action button here, and I will go into a little bit more in depth as to what to look out for within your ad copy in a little bit later in the presentation. But here again is where you're going to add all those details per variation. So again, if you are changing things up, I wouldn't change the entire copy, the entire headline. I would just choose one or two things to vary between each ad. So then you can keep track and see which one performed the best. And you'll get a better sense over time what things are working, what things aren't. The next thing that you will set is your daily budget. So this is the budget per day. Once it hits that, it will not go over that daily budget. One of the things that I always recommend is you do not need to start with like $50 daily budget. On average, $5 is kind of the minimum you want to work with. If you can stretch that budget closer to that $10, $13, that's kind of the ideal sweet spot to start with. And then you kind of monitor and see how things are doing, and you may increase it down the line. But you don't have to go guns blazing and have a huge budget right at the start. You kind of want to get to know what's working and seeing that spend happen on a daily basis before you start increasing it. So you will set that daily budget next. And the next step is the special ad category. So if you're not familiar with this started rolling out about a year ago in the United States, and slowly, as of January 2020, started rolling out in Canada, and officially now has fully rolled out in Canada as of December. And what these special categories is, and what it does, is you need to select the proper special category according to the Facebook advertising guidelines and policies. So in case of real estate, you will be selecting the housing opportunity or related service ads category. And this encompasses the listing of a sale or rental of a home, an apartment, homeowners insurance, mortgage insurance, mortgage loans, housing repairs, home equity, or appraisal services, anything in those types of services. If your ad or your business relates to any one of those housing related services, you must check off that special category when running your ad. If you do not, your ad will be rejected by Facebook and its algorithm, and they will deny showing your Facebook ad. So if you have set up your ads and you've been running them prior to this special category appearing in your ads, you'll want to go back and ensure that any ads that were before you've seen this category have that selected if they haven't been rejected yet. And the reason being is that after a certain amount of time, your account can be taken offline, can be rejected. So you do definitely want to check that off. And the reason for this category is just to allow for non-discrimination, that everybody has the opportunity to see particular ads, and they're not just being targeted to one group, one gender, one age group, or specific locations down to the postal code. So for those that were really targeting specific areas, unfortunately, you have to get a little bit more creative now in how you target that particular audience. So once you've selected the housing category and checked off housing as the special category that you're running the ad under, because you no longer can target age, gender, or zip code, you still can target locations. So you can specify Milton, Ontario, or Cambridge, Ontario, or Oakville, instead of just targeting Oakville or Ontario as a whole or Canada as a whole. So you do have that opportunity still to target the locations if you wanted those ads to appear in a little bit more specific area than just one general area. So you will hit audience section right underneath the special category. It will open up and show you age, but it won't allow you to now target age. Also gender, it will be grayed out, so it will be all men and women. Whereas before you can, if your specific sort of interest or target audience was primarily women, you could have chosen that in their particular age group. So this is where those interests really come in handy. Because if you do know your target audience and what their kind of interests are, you can kind of target them a little bit in those interest categories there, where before you could get a little bit more specific. Then you'll want to just review everything, make sure your daily budget is set, that you have the housing category checked off. You have targeted a little bit of a location where you want to target your ad. You can take a look at placement. Primarily, it's going to target Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. And then you'll want to make sure your ad copy's there, your ad versions are all set up, and then you're going to click the promote button now. It may take a few minutes to a few hours for Facebook to review and approve your ad. If it's been rejected, sometimes they will give you a hint as to why they've rejected it. Sometimes they don't. But at that point, if your ad is rejected, I would go back and just make sure, is your housing category checked off? Do I have maybe too much copy in my image? Sometimes it could be words that you're using in your ad copy. Obviously, I don't think anyone would use offensive words, but if you are using anything related to COVID, they may flag that as well. So just being careful as to what language you're using in your copy. Those are the primary things that ads usually get flagged for. Once you are more familiar, you've run some automated ads, you're seeing what's kind of working, what's not, you're looking at your Facebook insights and seeing which ads are performing at what times of the day, maybe what budgets, and you're feeling a little bit more confident. At this point, I may recommend choosing a more manual ad campaign. So instead of choosing automated ads, you're going to select choose a goal at the start of your ad campaign process. And what you will do here is go back to those objectives that you've defined at the start of your ad campaigns. Would you like to see a little bit more website visitors coming to your website? More people contact you? Would you like to get more messages? Are you trying to build up your Facebook or Instagram pages and you'd like to promote your page a little bit more? Would you like to get more leads? Here's where you're going to think of those objectives. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I've chosen get more website visitors as the ad of choice. And very similarly, we're going to add our description, headline, and select our media for our ad, like we did in the different versions. We're going to make sure if it's a carousel ad, you're going to upload those multiple videos or images of that property that you're trying to list. And you're going to add the ad description. Once all of those things are defined, again, you're going to go back to the special ad category section and you're going to enable it. So it has to be enabled beside the special ads category. And then you have to check off the category that you belong in this case, housing. And again, we're no longer able to hit age, gender, and specific zip codes, but we can still target locations within North America. So here's where you can do a specific location like Milton plus a few miles around it. You can target Milton, Burlington, Oakville, if that's what makes sense. This is where I recommend still adding in a little bit of that target location for your ad. But because you're running a manual ad now, The next steps that you can do is run your ad continuously or actually add an end date to it. And I do recommend it being good practice to always add an end date. And the reason for that is, and it might sound silly, but if you ever forget to end an ad or pause an ad, this will ensure that it does. So even though it may be a $5 or $10 budget daily, if 30 days later you've completely forgotten about that ad, that budget can add up. Here, you're actually setting an end date. And the shorter is better. We found that ads that run for about 5 to 7 days usually perform the best. And you can always pause the ad and rerun it again if need be, but at least you're having some insight as to how the ad did over that period of time. And you're not spending your budget ridiculously because maybe you've forgotten or there's a few ads running and you're kind of not sure when to end it. The next thing to do is, again, set the daily budget. A good starting point, like I mentioned, is $5. But if you can stretch that budget, $10 is the ideal budget to get started. You can always add to that budget. As you're adding to the daily budget, you will see the estimated people that ad will reach daily. It doesn't mean it'll necessarily reach that many people and that your budget will be used. So obviously an ad that's underperforming may not reach that amount of people. So this is where running a few ads with slight variations will give you a better idea of what is working in your ad and what isn't. Ad placement. Here is where Facebook will recommend all the places your ad will be displayed. So for example, if you're never on Messenger and you don't intend to be on Messenger, I would uncheck that. So you really want to make sure that you're delivering the ad to areas where you know your target audience will be most likely, and two, where you're going to end up responding back to that audience. Facebook really wants to use up your budget as much as it can. You want to make sure it's delivering to the places where you know your audience is going to be. So it's not necessarily, I'm not saying Messenger is a bad thing to have checked on. It's just if you're not using that tool, that's maybe not a place you want that ad to necessarily display. And then one of the last things that you'll may want to do is select to enable the Facebook pixel. So the Facebook pixel is a piece of code that when added to your website provides you with some analytics that will let you know once a person has clicked on your ad, what they do further on your website, and it'll give you some more information about that person. So these few lines of code from Facebook can give you additional insights that your Facebook Insight Analytics might not provide just on their own. What will happen is it will generate a piece of code for you. At that point, if you're comfortable yourself, you would add that to the header of your website. Or if you have someone that takes care of your website updates or the corporate office, you would send them that piece of code that's associated to your Facebook ad account. And if you don't know where to access that from, it has to be set up first before you start running an ad and you're able to enable it. So you would go into Events Manager in Facebook. And if you haven't set up your Facebook pixel code and you try to enable it, it will give you a link to the Events Manager. And there you will click on that and it'll take you through some steps that will then generate a copy code that you can provide to your web developer. I'm not going to really get into the steps here. What I will do is provide this link on the Facebook private group that we have. And this is a really great and easy kind of, I think, about 10-step tutorial on how to set it up and grab that code. So that way, if you do want to use those particular analytics code from Pixel, how to enable that and generate that so you can see more details from your ad. One of the things I do always recommend, as you know, these Facebook special categories areas have been announced. Facebook does do a lot of changes from time to time, and they don't really announce it very well, or they don't really specify who has it in effect or not. It's a really great idea to go over the Facebook guidelines, especially in terms of social media ads from time to time, and see what is available, what is not, and what you should and shouldn't be doing. If you are especially noticing that your ads are being rejected from time to time, it's a good idea to go over these guidelines because, again, Facebook does tend to have this really bad policy of kind of flipping things around and not letting everybody have necessarily the same tools at the same time. They roll it out over stages. So knowing kind of what you should and shouldn't be doing, just taking a quick look at their guidelines is a great idea. So we've gone over ad formats and ad sort of how to go from the beginning to the end, but we haven't talked about ad copy. And that's one of the important things about the ad itself as well. Some of the things you do want to keep in mind with your ad copy is you want to keep it very short, sweet, and direct. You want to have a clear message as to what the ad is speaking about or to. Don't be afraid to add or throw in some emojis to liven up the ad. Use the appropriate hashtags where it's appropriate and possible, and place links prominently in the copy. But you do want to leave a little bit of information out, so that way it compels your end visitor or client to contact you for more information. Things you also want to keep in mind is, depending on where the ad is being displayed, it gets cut off to some point, and you do have to click the see more area of the ad. So you do want to make sure you understand kind of what to keep above the fold, what to put in the headline, and kind of where to use what type of messaging. I've gone over a few real estate ads, and some of the more successful ads have this sort of recipe for ad copy. They tend to have a sort of a little bit of emojis and that attention to what it is that they're trying to say at the very top. So in this case, this is a coming soon ad. And what we want to say is attention, Milton, if this was the city, like you see on the right-hand side. This is an exclusive opportunity to check out the stunning property coming soon. And as you see, that's all that is seen before I have to click on see more. You want to give them a little bit more details as to maybe this is a home or a condo or a townhouse. I know the picture to some degree will show them that, but if it's an interior shot, it might not. You'll want to list possibly up to top 3 features, such as number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and maybe the square footage. And then you'll definitely want to have a clear call to action. So click below to find out more before it hits the market. And especially too, you want that headline, because for some people, they'll be looking at the headline. In this case, I added the emoji, the clock for, it's time sensitive, coming soon. If you want to learn more, click the button. So that call to action button, I've selected learn more. And I would click that to either a form where they can, this is where you have to sort of think about your funnel, either a form where they're going to fill out details to get more information when this property comes on the market, or your website information, somewhere where they can follow up to the next steps to get that information from you. Similarly, just listed ads, very similar format. You want to let them know this is just listed, used a couple of home emojis. Check out this beautiful property in Hawthorne Village, for instance, if this was that area that just hit the market. Again, we want to use, it doesn't necessarily have to be bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, but 3 top things that your target audience would be interested in knowing. Click below for more photos or details, or, a video walkthrough. Again, thinking about your funnel and those next steps that you want them to take in the process, and making sure that that link is there. And again, the headline, just listed, letting them know what area this property is listed in. Just because a property has been sold, it doesn't mean an ad can't be used to run in that case. You can show off not only that you've had a successful sale, but you can use that to follow up in an ad, such as interested in knowing more about how I could, how your home would be sold for. And here you can link to a funnel where it's a home evaluation, or something dealing with in their area, how much homes are listed for. So you can really use, you have to decide kind of again what your objectives are, but you can really use some of your successes in ads as well, not just listings or coming soon properties. And again, maybe not so much for this particular time, but open houses or events can be used as well in these particular ad copy formats, where you're saying open house, come by this weekend and check out this beautiful property in such community name, and list some of the features as well that way. Before I actually go into the final sort of objectives to take away for today, the one thing I didn't go over, but I will kind of talk about quickly because I'm sure it will come up, is boosted posts versus social ads. So when would I boost a post? When would I actually run an ad? If you can think about boosted posts, or just a regular Facebook post that you've already posted without paying for, but you wanted to reach a wider audience. So you may be looking for a little bit more comments, a little bit more brand awareness, whereas an ad will allow you to kind of get a tangible outcome. So you want them to do something, follow up with a call. You want them to fill out a form, whereas a boosted post will more likely get you more page likes, comments, and shares. So build up that brand awareness, build up maybe your profile following. An ad will actually, or you'll want to use an ad to actually get a more tangible result. And some of the key takeaways I'd like for you to remember after today is, definitely always select, as a real estate agent, that special housing ad category. If you have already been running ads, especially ones that are active right now, do definitely go through your ads and make sure that ad category is now selected. Define your objectives and goals before starting or running your ad. So really think about, what is it that you want to do at the start, and what do you want to accomplish within those budgets. Select a daily budget and an end date so you don't overspend, especially at the beginning when you're just starting out maybe. You don't have to have a huge budget, but you do have to be smart about kind of what you're putting together and the duration that it's running. Once an ad is running, don't change too many variables at one time. So especially when you're running those manual ads, if you're finding that it's underperforming, don't all of a sudden change the picture and the headline and the ad copy. Change one thing at a time and kind of see how the ad is progressing before switching to more things. Run experiments, use Facebook Insights and possibly Facebook Pixel to see what is the best reach, what is working, what isn't. Once you've found that winning ad or that formula that's working for you, stick to that and cut everything else out. Don't experiment too much. Continue using that ad, maybe play around with the budget a little bit, and you should see some good improvements that way. And I will leave it up for questions and answers. I'm just going to unshare here for you.
All right. Jennifer, do you see anything in the question in the chat box?
There's been some questions about creating fillable forms when you're creating an ad. So can you just do like a quick overview of that? I have a feeling that you'll probably have to go deeper into Vanessa's question in the actual group, but.
Yeah, so when you select how to contact me, and there was that area where you'd like them to fill out information so you can follow up with them. If you were to select that, Facebook gives you the ability to create that form there. So you can ask them to leave their name, phone number, email. I'm not sure if there was maybe one other possibility there. And that form will be generated an alert to you to let you know that it's been filled out. Um, Likewise, you can link your ad to a particular form that maybe you have a funnel or landing page created outside of Facebook that you might be using. But that's where in the ad process that you would be filling that out.
All right, I think that was the only question that was left unanswered. Don't forget to go ahead and join our private Facebook page. Sylvia will be available until what date again, Sylvia?
Until next Friday, so December, I think it was 18th.
Okay, we thank you for that. So go
Yeah, I
ahead
will
and
pop in daily and I'll check. I might not, if I'm not right on the page when you're asking the question, I definitely will get back to you by the next day. But I tend to be online quite a bit, so chances are you'll catch me the same day. But until December 18th, I will answer any questions from any of the series that we've done to date.
perfect. Thank you so much for sharing with us again, Sylvia. And don't forget that this is the last Mindset Monday for 2020. We'll see you again in January. Our team here at Mindset Monday would like to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll see you in January. All right. Thanks, everyone. The link and the recording will be in the Facebook group as well as distributed. Have a great week.
You too.
Bye. Thanks, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Ivana.